thermocouples and RTDs in various industries. So, what is the use of a thermowell? So, thermowell has two basic usage, two main usage. One is to protect the temperature sensor from excessive pressure, from excessive material velocities, and protect it from corrosion and erosion. The second important reason for using a thermowell is for easier maintenance. So in case if you take out the sensor, still the thermowell is in the process, so you don't have to stop the process and you can change the sensor. Then you can increase the life, you would increase the life of the sensor. And third is you eliminate the possibility of possible contamination. So now how to choose a thermowell? So there are main considerations for choosing a thermowell are, first is what is the type of construction, bar stock or fabricated. Bar stock would mean that you would form it out of a bar, and fabricated is normally done from a pipe construction. Pipe construction, it's a pipe and then you close the end of the pipe to make a protection tube or a thermowell. The second consideration is the process connection. So we'll come to it, different kind of process connections are there. Then what is the stem profile? So this would define the response time of the sensor. Then we have the main criteria, which is choosing the right material for the thermowell. So that would depend on the temperature and other chemical factors. So these are the main considerations for choosing the protection tube or a thermowell. As we see here different kind of process connection. You can see a flange construction, then you see here a welded construction, which is the thermowell is welded onto the process, and the second one in the bottom is also a welded construction. Then we have the screwed connection, and the fourth one what you see is a connection which is for easy replaceability in a vacuum kind of furnace. So they can be different process connection according to the requirement of the process. So all these are available from the manufacturers of these sensors and thermowells. This is a socket weld construction, the first one on the left side, then the threaded connection, and then you see the flange connection, the same thing in graphical, like in diagrams. So you see here various kind of nomenclature. The EL represent the extension length, which is outside the process. T is the threaded connection. Then L is the overall length, and the IL is the insertion length. So this is the standard for all nomenclatures for the thermowell. Various kinds of flanges, various kind of process connections are available. Various kind of threads are available as per the requirement of the customer. These are the stem profiles. You can have a stepped profile, which has the advantage of better response time. All the temperature sensors are measuring its own temperature in terms of RTDs or thermocouples, whatever we are talking about. So the RTD or the thermocouple should get heated up to give a proper, then only it will give the temperature response. So in case of a stepped thermowell, our area, like the volume of getting heated is smaller. So it gives a faster response time than a straight construction, In case of taper construction, you have a taper, so you have a smaller bottom, which is the sensing portion. So this gives a better response time than the straight construction. The advantage of straight construction is it has a better pressure withstanding, or better life in terms of aggressive materials are, for example, in a cement plant, when you are having a thermowell. So the importance is not response time, but how much life you can get from that thermowell. So a straight would have more material at the bottom, so it can give you better life in such kind of application. So always it is a balance between the life, response time. These are always have to be balanced.
Smaller diameter is the sensing side, or the taper means larger diameter, small diameter?
No, you can see the taper portion is at the measuring side. So all the thermocouples or RTDs, they are measuring their own temperature. So till the time, if you have larger mass, it will take more time to get heated or get it cooled down. So the taper portion is always at the bottom side, which is the sensing, which is the hot end. This is more in terms of RTD. Construction, as I have already told you, we have the insertion length, the threaded length, and then the overall length. You would have the diameter, which could be a taper, so they would be OD1 and OD2, or the bottom diameter, or at the threaded portion diameter. So these are the basic dimensions which are required for making the thermowell. There's a process connection which is tightened to the process, and there's an instrument connection which is tightened to the stem or to the insert. So you see on the left hand side, so you have the process connection on the left hand side, on the threaded portion, and on the top you have the instrument connection. So instrument connection is where the RTD insert would be tightened, and there is a bore which is drilled according to the size of the RTD or the thermocouple, and the outside process connection will be tightened to the process. Now coming to the various materials which are available for the thermowell. So we start with the metallic protection tubes or metallic thermowells or bars, which can be drilled and made into forms of thermowells. So we have a selection from SS 304, 321, 316, 316L, 310, 446, Inconel 800. So one is obviously temperature. So there's a different temperature range for each of this elements. And then according to the type, there's also particular usage. For example, a 446 and 310, both are having similar temperature range, and even Inconel 800, you can see it is about 1000, 1050, or again 1000 degrees centigrade. But 446 is more used, it is having better life in case of sulfuric atmosphere. So, or in case of a non-ferrous molten metal. So 446 is a chosen material in a cement plant or a molten aluminum plant, or primary aluminum plant, where they want to take the temperature of molten aluminum. So according to the chemical as well as the temperature, you have to choose the right material of the thermowell. Now coming to other material like Inconel 825, Inconel 600, Inconel 601, Inconel 625. So these all are Inconel materials, and they have, like for example, the Inconel 825, it is better for hydrogen sulfide and organic sulfide application or refinery application. Inconel 600 is a good material for oxidizing atmospheres. Inconel 601 has better oxidation resistant at high temperature, and because of small bonding of the oxide layer. Then Inconel 625 is used mainly in the nuclear industry. Inconel 625 is used for high temperature. This MA253 is a proprietary material from Sandvik, and it is having good high temperature resistant, and it is also good for sulfuric atmosphere. Yumco 50 is also high temperature material, which is used, which is having cobalt 50%. So it is high temperature and suitable for abrasive atmosphere. So these all materials are available. According to the requirement, we can offer different materials. Kenthal A1 is a material of Kenthal, and also Kenthal APM. So they all these type of tubes are available for high temperature application. Hastelloy is more for acidic application for HCl and H2SO4 for chemical. Hastelloy C276 is for high temperature application, Hastelloy X, Monal, also for some chemical applications. Then platinum we are using a lot in the glass temperature sensor. In case of molten glass, so there is no element which can withstand that kind of aggressive nature, and platinum is a material which is non-wetting for molten glass. So the molten glass is not sticking to platinum. So we are using platinum thermovils for such cases. Similarly, titanium for again some chemical processes we are using. Titanium sheets we are using. Then tantalum is for reducing atmosphere at high temperature, and tantalum is for inert or vacuum application, and molybdenum is for reducing atmosphere or inert atmosphere we are using. So all these kind of thermovils are possible. So we supplied also with some special coatings of on tantalum. So these all things can be offered to the customers. Then coming to non-metallic, so there are various kind of non-metallic protection tubes which are available. The first one is the most common, which is called alumina. So this is 99.7% alumina, or it is also called C799 or 710 tube. So this is having 99.7% alumina and suitable up to 1750 degrees centigrade. And this is the most common tube which is used for all platinum thermocouples. So for all R-type, S-type, B-type thermocouples, this is the primary tube which is used. Even in combination of any other tube if you are using, the inner tube has to be this alumina tube. Then silicon carbide, it has got good temperature resistant up to 1500 and good thermal shock resistant. So this is also used in combination with, inside can be alumina tube and outside can be a silicon carbide tube for better thermal shock resistance. Then silicon nitride or Cylon, so this is used for molten aluminum application, and this tube is non-wetting with molten aluminum. Then Sirmet is again for high temperature. It is a metal ceramic, and it is having 77% alumina and 23% chrome. This is used for molten brass application, or even for molten copper application this is used. Then quartz is for 1000 degrees centigrade, and it is used for acidic application, and it has got good thermal shock resistance. There is also a tube 60% alumina, which is having good thermal shock resistance. So these all tubes are available, which are mostly ceramic tubes. As you see, the metals are the metallic tubes are mainly up to 1200 degrees centigrade or 1300 degrees centigrade. More than that, you have to go for a ceramic tube. Even 1200 degrees centigrade, you don't have a proper metal tube which can give you a good life. So more than 1100 degrees centigrade, you have to go for solutions of ceramic tubes. And most common is this C799 or 99.7% alumina tubes. There are some other non-metallic tubes, like silicon carbide is available in self-bonded or nitride bonded. So they are suitable up to 1500 degrees centigrade. They are used in some steel plants, also for non-ferrous applications these are used. Tungsten carbide is the temperature range is not 1600, it is actually less than that, but it is a very hard material. It is used for all coal mill application. So in case of power plant, solid sintered tungsten carbide thermovils are used, which can give much like good life in case of a coal mill application. The temperature is up to 300 degrees centigrade only in the coal mill application. There are some coatings available. Some of them we have listed here, like tungsten carbide coating. So it gives a hard face onto the thermowell, which is can offer a hardness up to 74 HRC. Then Teflon coating for chemical applications up to 200 degrees centigrade. Boron nitride coating for applications in molten aluminum, because boron nitride is a kind of lubricant, so the molten aluminum will not stick to the metal. Zirconia coating is again for high temperature and for abrasive environment. Alumina coating is again for high temperature applications. Stellite coating, it is either can be coated, it is again a hard coating on for high temperature application. So these all different kind of coatings are available for the thermowells. So normally they are coated onto the metallic thermowells. The life would really depend on the application. How aggressive is the substance, what is the flow rate, so and what is the temperature, so they all would define the life. So life is mostly by experiment only, or depending on the past experience we can tell what can be the life. So we really cannot tell that this, if you do this coating, the life would be 5 years or 2 months. It would depend on the application. Yes, each coating has a different procedure, and some of the coatings we can do in-house and some of the coatings we have to get it done outside. So there is a particular procedure for doing each coating, and the materials are also specific for that coating. Mr. Clem already discussed about the immersion lens, but there is just a few points I would like to put on that. As he already told that minimum 10 times should be the insertion length for a thermowell or a sensor. So we have to take care that if we are not having proper insertion or enough insertion, there would be a large amount of error what we can have in the sensor. For example, we have here a sensor which is at different temperatures. So the blue one we can see is for ice at 0 degree centigrade. Then the pink one is at 100, and the yellow one is at 200. And we have done it in a calibration bath, and you can see the error. So it is almost at more than 4 inches for this dimension. 4 inches is about 115, 20 mm. We can get proper the right error, the right kind of accuracy we are able to get. So for a 12 millimeter tip, you can see that if we are not inserting more than 10 times, so you are going to have lot of error. It's the error in percentage, and if the insertion is not proper, then we will have lot of error in the reading. So immersion is, as Mr. Clem told, should be about 10 times the diameter of the tip. Plus you have to add, in case of RTD, another 20-25 millimeter for the sensor length. So then only you can get the proper temperature accuracy. Various kind of testing and inspection which are carried out on the sensors. Some of them are being listed here. This is on the thermowells. One is material certification. It could be chemical. It would be chemical and mechanical. Then visual inspection like appearance, finish, dimension as per approved drawing. Then threads as per the gauges, bore concentricity. It can be by ultrasonic or can be by physical measurement. Then hydrostatic pressure, mostly external. So normally it is recommended to do 50% more than the process pressure. DPT test for the welding points, radiography test for the welding point or the bores, PMI for the identification of the material, hardness test and IBR testing and certification for the boilers. So this is just a simple certificate for the IBR. So the material has to be approved, then we have to go for the drawing to be approved, and then the final inspection by the boiler inspector is there to stamp the goods. Response time, as we already discussed, for a stepped thermowell you can get about, for example, this thermowell, we got around 22 seconds response time. For a taper was 26 and for straight was 30 seconds. So this would depend on the type of design of your stem. If you want fast response time, you can go for a very small tip. So directly the sensor can also be welded onto the thermowell, which gives strength to the whole length of the thermocouple, and then only the tip can come out. Or you can have an insertion with a smaller tip. This is typically for Nuclear Power Corporation, NPCIL. We made a special thermowell. You can see the tip is tapered. This is an RTD, and in case of a thermocouple is a point type of sensor, whereas an RTD is a sensor with a particular length. For example, RTD may be 20 millimeter long, and so it senses through a length of 20 millimeter. So we have a taper drill in the thermowell, and the insert is made of silver, which is also taper. So it is touching throughout the length of the thermowell from inside. So you have a better contact, and the better contact would translate into better response time. In this thermowell, the response time was less than 8 seconds for this case. So, and coming to why thermowells fail, improper process application, improper material selection, improper application, higher than anticipated temperature, and ignoring velocity considerations. So velocity calculations are made for specifically power plants. So you know the fluid and the flow. So there is a standard called PTC 19.3, which defines if you give in all the process parameters, so and the type of thermowell, so it would say what would be the natural frequency in that kind of system, and you have to see that that natural frequency is not crossed. So this kind of calculation is done for all thermowells for the power plants. These are typical vibration cracks what we have seen when the thermowells were put into use, and within a short span of time we had this issue of vibration cracks when the calculations were not kind of properly done, or even in case when they thought that the flow would be so much and it was actually different than what was envisaged. So that's about thermowell. If you have any questions, you can ask, or maybe we can proceed. Yes. Yes, sir.
Is there any positioning confirmed, that is to be a vertical mounting or to be a horizontal mounting? Is there any difference in thermal?
It depends on really you have to take the it has to touch the process fluid. If it's a vertical mounting, so you have to consider that it is going to touch the fluid, and it is immersed properly in the fluid for which it is going to take the temperature for. And so that is the main consideration, that whatever temperature you want to take, it should touch those kind of material.
Okay, probably an example I can give is now we are having a conveyor brazing furnace, wherein the positioning of thermocouple is horizontal.
Okay.
And we are the application temperature is 1100 degrees centigrade, and we are often finding it the thermowell is getting sagged down.
Sagged down, yes.
Is it something related to the thermowell selection?
Yes, so there can be lot of consideration, because if you are having it vertical, you don't have the cantilever force, and you are kind of operating the temperature which is at quite a limit of temperature for the thermowell. For example, 1000 degrees centigrade, if you are using a SS316 or 310 also, and because of its self weight, the thermowell can bend down in such kind of application. If you insert it from the top, then it may be a better position.
But actually by the design, it has been given as a horizontal and of course it is conveyor furnace.
Conveyor furnace, okay. So you don't have access from the top, maybe. So then the only possibility is to increase the diameter to give it more strength, to have it straight. That's the only way.
Of any type of furnace.
Are you using the inner ceramic tube also inside the outer sheet?
No.
I think that can solve your problem.
Yeah, if you have something to strengthen it.
How much is the immersion?
Approximately 450.
I think your problem can be, you can try.
Or maybe
Means inside the thermowell, there will be a ceramic tube inside.
so double tube. So there would be.
It will keep your thermowell straight even at the high temperature. It will not allow it to bend. That is how you could try one.
No, it will not affect your temperature measurement because these are conductive materials and they would affect only some response time.
Little response time. I think you can compromise with that.
It's a cantilever effect which is self-weight, it is coming down. So the only way is to strengthen it by some way. Now we would discuss some applications for different industries and different sensors what we have provided. So some of them may be applicable to you, or like some of them would be the similar application would be there for even your industries as well. In case of steel industry, there are stove domes. So we have this special sensors for the stove dome. Here the temperature is quite high, can go up to maybe 1200 degree centigrade or maybe a little bit more also, and there is high pressure in this stove dome. So we have this application in which there are three solutions. One is first one is with double ceramic protection. So inside is a S-type or R-type thermocouple, and there are two layers of ceramic, and outside the holding tube, which can be of loosely. The B solution is having outside of silicon carbide and inside of this ceramic alumina insulation, and the third one is having inconel outer and inside is again alumina. As I told you earlier that for all R-type, S-type or B-type thermocouple, you need to have a layer of ceramic so that it is protected from the outside environment. So as Mr. Clem was telling, silicon can have a lot of effect of drift on the platinum thermocouples. So you need to have a protection of ceramic which will insulate it from the metallic part and then reduce the possibility of silicon getting into the platinum and drifting the sensor. So in all the three cases we are using S-type material. Also N-type is used in some cases, but inside would be ceramic and outside can be ceramic or silicon carbide or inconel in the third case. And in this case also in the top just below the head we use ceramic to metal seal. So even in case the thermocouple fails, so the blast would not come out from the head. So this kind of solution we are offering. So it could be applicable for some of your cases also. So we are using glass sealing so that even if the thermowell is breaking, the blast is not going to come out from the head. So this is for stove dome. For coke oven is again same similar kind of thing, but double ceramic tube, and it is used for the coke oven battery application. So this is long length, can be also up to 2 meter long thermocouples for such cases. Then these are for the refractory thermocouples. So for a steel plant refractory, so first one as you see in the box, it's a multi-point thermocouple. So there is a different position of the refractory. So sensors are laid inside the refractory and it gives the temperature at different points and in one box at different levels. Second is also the Hertz thermocouples for different lengths. So normally it is K-type with inconel sheathing or 310 sheathing it is used for all steel plants. Yes, sir.
First one, so that the application is it can.
It's a multi-point. It's like many MI thermocouples are placed together. So one can be 5 meters, other can be 7 meters, 8 meters. So they all are put together in one junction box as the connecting box.
But those are similar to MI thermocouple?
All are MI thermocouple. We have a possibility. Thermo? No, no, thermo. It is not thermopile. Thermopile is a totally different thing. Thermopile is not for temperature sensing in like this is for industrial temperature sensing. So they have a big furnace, and they inside the furnace they are laying that at a particular distance they have laid the sensor. Output is individual. Yes, output is individual. Yes, output is individual. For some GTRE, we did a thermocouple in which they made parallel all the thermocouples. So in case of you make the thermocouple parallel, then it will give you the average temperature. So we have also supplied. No, here in this case they want individual temperature, but that particular customer, one particular customer, he wanted average temperature. So then you can make it parallel to give the average temperature.
Can we see that particular product tomorrow's work?
We can check if it is lying there. It is a simple product. It's MI cable, but one MI cable roll is for 3 meters, other one may be 6 meters, other one may be 10 meters, and they are all connected in a junction box with multiple terminals. And the flange is also, this is a single flange. It's a simple product with multiple length of MI cable going, and it is just connected to a box. The second one is also the same. So the guy is having a cable, and then he is then connecting to a junction box. In this case, they are all put it together in a junction box. That's all.
So using first product will be simplifying.
As per their design philosophy, in the second case, he is having the junction box at side and he is going to connect it himself. Here we are giving the junction box. The only difference is that, and they are having all connections together in one junction box. In case of the sponge plant, so they have a rotating kiln, and they they use quick response thermocouples which are grounded junction. So a person is putting inside after a few cycles. He is putting inside manually and checking the temperature. So the quick response thermocouples, they are using grounded ones, and so for each rotation he is just putting it inside and taking it out. So it's more like a manual process. All the sponge iron plants are using it is called a QRT, quick response thermocouple. They are using grounded ones. In case of aluminum plant, we have solutions like this one is with silicon, it is called Cylon or silicon nitride tube. So this goes inside the holding furnace, and it gives a life, good life, more than 6 months in case of molten aluminum. So this it is called hot part and the cold arm. So according to the furnace it can be designed. There are other solutions with 446 or it could be for with cast iron is used. So cast iron is dissolved little bit, and that kind of impurities are going into molten iron, but this is a much cheaper solution than a silicon nitride solution. But still it can give 1 month life to the customer. Some of the molten aluminum, they are using this, especially when they are charging with scrap. So in case of scrap, the ceramic tube in the last case can break, but here in this case the scrap is not going to, even with mechanical shock, this can give a reasonable life. For the carbon So they make carbon anodes in the primary aluminum plant. So in this case, they are using Inconel 601, and inside is N type of element, bare element they are using. So they had the same problem of green rot effect and all those things. So they have shifted to Inconel 601 and N type bare element they are using with 3.2 millimeters.
At this moment, I'm happy to say this. I'm the customer who had asked for the requirement and it has been started. Now you're not having that problem.
Yes, so actually suddenly we got a complaint from Bosch that your thermocouples were working and now it is having a drift of 40 degrees centigrade within 1 week's time. So we were also shocked. Everything is the same thing. So this was 5-6 years back, and we had no real explanation. We sent them the replacement, and again the same complaint came. So we asked for the samples, and we also studied. So it was because of lack of oxygen and the K-type element, one of the element was getting corroded, and this drifted within a few hours by 40 degrees centigrade. And finally we also studied, and then we gave them sample of with inconel sheathing, and inside was N-type element, and the problem was solved. I think MI cable we gave, and the problem was solved. So it was a good learning experience for us. In case of pot room, they are using 446 tube with boron nitride coating, and the thermocouple is bare wire or an MI cable, and you can see the tip at the bottom. So they are pushing it inside the molten aluminium for taking this temperature, and you can get maybe 30 to 70 dips of the pot temperature. Bottom is also another option, which is using high wall thickness MI cable. So high wall thickness MI cable in SS304, and this is also for the same application of pot room temperature measurement in aluminum plant. So this is for the high temperature plant. It is more like a cement plant. So they they are making alumina in the aluminum plant. So there they are using I think K-type, PTRSPT with outer inconel and inside is ceramic tube. In case of glass plant, we have a very good solution, and we are serving worldwide lot of industries. So we have large experience. This is typical layout of a glass plant. So you have the melting furnace, and then you have distributor and forers, and the glass is coming out like droplets from each of this, and the droplet is by timing. So each bottle you are getting is by a particular timing, that in 1 second maybe 20 bottles or 40 bottles, whatever are coming out. So, and the weight of the droplet is dependent on the time, and the weight would then depend on the viscosity, and with temperature the viscosity would change of the glass. So it is important to keep the constant temperature in the glass plant, so that you're getting the right weight of each bottle. If it is too high, then you would have a lot of glass which is not used, and if it is too low, then it can break. The maximum bottles are used for beers, so when they are pressurizing, so it can break. So so it is, and if you give more glass, so then you are wasting that kind of glass. So for optimum usage, so they are using temperature sensor. It is one of the most important and I would say the costliest instruments in the glass plant, because each thermocouple is having a lot of platinum as a thermowell to it, not just as a sensor. So this is for the top of the furnace. So this is a double ceramic tube, which is a simple thing, single or double ceramic tube. At the furnace bottom, sometimes they are having only with the ceramic, which is inside the refractory itself. It is not touching the glass, but in case over a period of time, maybe 3 years, 5 years, the refractory will be worn out. So they have a small platinum thimble which is there, a small platinum cover, as you see on the left hand side picture. So even if the refractory is corroded, still the thermocouple tip would be made of platinum, so it will be still intact, and the thermocouple will still give the temperature.
This platinum is always hardened. So it is a SPH or DPH.
The special grade of platinum.
Hardened.
Then for the distributor in 4 hertz, so they just they take the temperature through the level of the glass. One is at the bottom, middle and top. So there are 3 levels of glass, the temperature is taken, and they try to homogenize the temperature through the various length as well as the depth of the glass. So it's called a tri-level sensor. So similarly for your case also, in case if you want multi-level sensors, so we can offer multi-level sensors. This is at the end of the glass, it's called the spout thermocouple. In case of cement industry, this is at the kiln outlet temperature. This is normally made of HRS 446. It's a high temperature withstanding material, and inside can be a MI cable of SS310 and K-type element. And life here you can expect about 1 month or so, 1 month or 1.5 months is the life for such thermowell. And here in this case, the life would depend on how far, how long your thermowell can withstand such aggressive and high temperature application. Aggressive in terms of abrasive, because the clinker is touching and it is of high temperature and very abrasive nature, so it eats away the outer protection tube. This is again mainly it is HRS also can be coated with tungsten carbide. In this case is for preheater fan outlet. For secondary air also similar HRS thermowell and with some coating can be there. For the inlet also similar thermocouples there. This is another design with a different kind of process connection which is like flanged. This is for coal silo. Here the temperature is not much, so here can be SS316 or can be tungsten carbide also. For this for bearing RTD, here the diameter is small, but the problem is of the vibration and other things. So you need to take care at the joining of the RTD and the outer wire, and secondly of the RTD element itself, so that even in high vibration it gives a good life. For power plants, there are many solutions we are offering. Turbine temperature measurement, furnace boiler temperature measurement, which can be thermowells, and air and flue gas temperature measurement, coal mill temperature measurement, which is like tungsten carbide thermowells, bearing and IBR certification. So these all many, each power plant has more than 500, each unit of power plant has more than 500 sensors. So tomorrow maybe when you are coming to the factory, we can show you a lot of power plant sensors which are being manufactured. We work with a lot of nuclear and R&D projects like NPCIL, BARC, Bhavini and other DRDO and other facilities. So for example, this one we did with Bhavini, supplied a lot of sensors, over 1,500 sensors. So each of the like these sensors were 2 millimeter diameter. They were for taking the temperature of the sodium pipes which are running throughout the plant. So it was as per like ASTM E235, which is a special standard for high reliability and nuclear application. So each of the sensor was supplied with more than 5,000 mega ohm insulation resistance. The accuracy was class 1, and each had to be radiographed, each sensor, to see that how much is the distance from the tip, and with limo connector. So this was a specific job for Bhavini we did. We can see here there is a lot of testing on the MI cable in terms of as per ASTM E235. So then connector qualification, so the welder was qualified, and then dimensional, insulation resistance, thermal cycling, EM calibration at 50, 100, 200, 300, 600 degrees centigrade. Then calibration at high temperature, surface finish, and all radiography, and 100% check for radiography. So there was a lot of checks for this particular customer and order. Then we are doing some special RTDs which is used for what do you call it is for the turbine efficiency testing. So you have the inlet of the turbine and outlet of the turbine, and how much is the power produced. So in case BHEL is doing a turbine for a customer, so they promise that the efficiency would be 95%. So they prove this by using such kind of thermal sensors in which they have the inlet temperature, outlet temperature, how much is the power produced. So these are special RTDs which we have to offer with 0.3 degrees accuracy from a measuring range of 0 to 660 degrees centigrade. So this can only be done by having a special curve for each RTD. So each RTD was checked at 5 fixed points, and then each RTD a special curve was offered to the customer so that he can get it in this accuracy range. And there was special arrangement made so that the drift is minimum for these RTDs. Then you can also see tomorrow some strap-on RTDs for nuclear power plant. So this is for taking the temperature outside the pipes in a nuclear power plant. And here the response time is less than 20 seconds including the pipe. So we made a special testing station in which there's according to the diameter of, we supply the RTD, the pad type of RTD, skin RTD with the clamp according to the pipe diameter. So we have to do an in situ test. We have to simulate the same amount of flow what they are going to see it in their plant, and we have to offer the response time less than 20 seconds for each RTD along with the pipe. The temperature changes from ambient to maybe 80 degrees centigrade. The water is heated up in the big tank upside, and when it is falling down with the same kind of flow, so the response should be less than 20 seconds. So we have a full simulation for the whole set. The response time for there's another type of RTD for NPCL in which the response time required is less than 8 seconds. We saw this in the last, a few slides back. So here the insert was made of silver and the thermowell was tapered so that you have the maximum contact for an RTD. And they want the life to be more than 20 years. So each RTD is with ceramic to metal seal. It's not just general epoxy which we are sealing the cold end. This is a vibration test we did for KKNPP only done a few days back. So it is for seismic as well as non-seismic, and these all RTDs are qualified for high shock and vibration test withstanding. We also gave to some customers advanced naval lab. This is a self-eroding thermocouple. So self-eroding thermocouple means and the response time, here the main advantage is the response time is in milliseconds, just a few milliseconds. Here, as the thermocouple is burning off, still it is making contact. So what it has is, it has this layer of insulation. The red one is an insulation layer, and the pink one is the thermocouple, one is plus, and then insulation layer and minus. It is sandwiched between two metal parts, and it is it's just like a small strip. So even when the strip is burning off, it is still having some more thing from the bottom which is coming out, and it is making the thermocouple itself, because these are very thin foils which even when they burn, so they would make contact at some of the other places. So we supplied to advanced naval, so only the center one which is coming out, you see the second one, that is having that is a self-eroding thermocouple, and the rest of the thermocouples are normal thermocouples. So we supplied to them, and it is a multi thermocouples, some C type and some K type were supplied. We supplied to VSSC some sensors which were up to 1000 degree centigrade, 1000 degree Kelvin. We use K type, and for 1700, 1800 degree Kelvin, we offered them B-type, and they want to simulate something like maybe the rocket coming back to the Earth, so it sees very high speed, and because of this speed, it sees very high temperature when the rocket is re-entering. So they use it's called a wind tunnel, and we made the thermowells with tantalum, tungsten, and a special coating of silicide. So, and they were calibrated at 50-degree interval, and they were working in high pressure and high temperature and wanted fast response time. So this is typical for the B-type thermocouple, the drawing, and this one is for K-type up to I think 1000-degree Kelvin or so, 700-degree Kelvin, and for fast response time we had taken out the tip out from the thermowell so that it can give fast response time. Miniature sensors are available right from 0.25 mi diameter. So the wire would be only you can say 0.04 or 0.03 mm, and you can have response time about 30 milliseconds with such thing. Also, swage thermocouple means the tip would be narrowed from the bottom so that it gives better response time. So these kind of things can also be available. Here you can see it is with response time check what we did for the customer. So T63 was about 30 milliseconds. 30 milliseconds. So each T63 was close to about 30 milliseconds. Each division is about 20 milliseconds, and so this is a swage thermocouple. You can see it is it is narrowed from the bottom so that the tip is thinner and the rest of the thermocouple is bigger. So this one is for the reactor thermocouple probe. So these are 3 sensors. This for IG car and fast response time and all those requirements are there. So this is C-type thermocouples, tungsten rhenium for high temperature. We already discussed with Mr. Clem up to 2300 degrees centigrade with moly or tantalum sheathing with normally C-type can be offered. Then for the oil and gas industry, skin type thermocouples are there. They are again for the tube temperature measurement. So skin type thermocouple are quite common for oil and gas, also for power plants. In case of oil and gas, because the tubes are moving, tubes can move because of temperature. So there is a spring arrangement even with the movement of the tube. So the like the thermocouple would be intact. So there is a spring kind of arrangement so that it allows the possibility of movement of the thermocouple. These are multi-point thermocouples. As we discussed, they are similar to the ones what we discussed there. So we can have multiple points going from a flange, and they can be construction as per your requirement. In pharma industry, there are various applications. So they are normally low temperature applications. So normally in pharma industries, either we use a T-type thermocouple or an RTD, and the J-type thermocouple is normally used in the plastic industry. So in case of pharma industry, thermocouples are used, and they are used in autoclave application for bulk drugs. So here the main requirement is through the sensor. So this, as you see the ring, so it's just not the normal wire or compensating wire. We use thermocouple wires, and they are insulated with either Teflon in this case. So even with high pressure, the water should not come out from the other side. So that's the application in the pharma industry. So there are various sensors, and all of them are required at high accuracy, so they can be manufactured. This is for again for autoclave. So for the pressure boundary, you can see there's a silicon special encapsulation at the end of the stainless steel part, so that the pressure does not leak through the cable. So this is again another. This is for with the Kapton, and for the sterilization tunnel, and again with the stainless steel tip in this case. This is for the freeze dryer. So these are the various applications of sensors what we have attempted, and there are many more in your industrial area also what we have done. So if there's any specific requirement or question according to your application, we would be happy to discuss about those things.